So, how did you get started? I mean, you seem like a pretty like you've done classical training or anything, or did you just teach yourself vibraphone?
Yeah, no, no, yeah. So I started playing drums when I was like 10 years old or so, and then in high school I got into the classical side of things, and then went to school for classical percussion in Toronto. And while I was at school, I remember I was actually thinking about this the other day, how I got into this electronic thing. I saw a video on Facebook of some guy doing a live looping cover of like a Michael Jackson tune with a xylophone. And I was like, oh, I know how to do that. And I checked the comments, and nobody had ever seen that before. So I was like, oh, maybe I should give that a try. And then I bought the cheapest loop pedal I could find and took that into the practice room. And yeah, and I just started making loops and beats and that kind of thing.
Amazing. And when I first met you, I know you'd been already using Ableton quite a while. Was that your first go-to, or was that something you got into later? Or
No, I got into it way later. I was using like a Boss loop pedal, and then Logic, and then Mainstage, which is like Logic's live setup, and then I was finding that very restricting. So then I moved to Ableton, and within the first hour, I was like, oh yeah, this is it. This is the one.
and have you done many performances with this setup that you're about to show us tonight, or is this new?
Yeah, it's fairly new. When the pandemic started, I was kind of doing a similar setup to this in my living room, just doing like live stream shows. But this iteration in particular is kind of new.
And I mean, when people see it, I think it will be self-explanatory. But maybe what are some challenges that you face with this
Oh
kind of
boy.
setup?
I mean, there's a lot of technical challenges, like like feedback, and especially I think in a small room like this is already pretty loud.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want it to be overwhelmingly loud, for small audiences, but I still want the effects to come through. So I always find that kind of challenging is, yeah, how much am I playing for the room and how much am I playing for the mics.
For sure, and transportation and stuff must be challenging as
it's
well.
terrible.
Do
Yeah.
you have like different versions of this set, or is this just like the scale down, scale up type of thing?
Right now, like this is the show that I'm about to play was written for this setup, and the next one that I write, I'll probably use a different setup, and it might not include like a mallet instrument at all. It might just be more electronic, might be more drum set. So it really just depends on what I have access to at that time. Here, I don't have access to much because I had to leave all my stuff at home.
Sure, sure. Oh, clearly a vibraphone.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So, if you were on a desert island, you can only take 3 pieces of gear. What would you
Oh,
take?
3 pieces of
Assuming we
gear.
have magical solar power generators and stuff.
Uh, that's a tough one. I'd say one of them, Pandero. It's like a Brazilian tambourine.
Okay.
It's like a drum set that you can hold in your hand. It's really great. I'd say like a synth. Like I have an MS-20 back home, and I love that thing to death.
Okay.
And I'd say those key chimes, just to calm me down when I'm feeling hopeless. They're
Yeah.
super soothing. I love them.
Super, super chill. And yeah, how do you balance obviously I know you're still a student, things are crazy. How do you balance your life a little bit between working and play?
Uh, I'll let you know when I find out, because I still haven't really hit that balance. I don't know. I just try to have fun with what I do for work, and also for what I do. I do music for work, and then I also do this for fun, which is still music, but it's completely different. For work I play in orchestras and pit bands and stuff. So it just gives me like a different kind of fun, really.
Okay, so outside of this, you're like a session
Yeah.
musician then.
Yeah, back home.
And like, are you going to go back to that after you graduate, or what are your plans?
I think so. That's kind of where my network is in that kind of world. So I'll go back home and just pick up those gigs again, and then maybe see what happens with this. So I know that'll be a steady stream of income, the stuff that I was doing previous to this, and yeah, and then I'm gonna keep on doing stuff with this.
Nice. And have you found any cool plugins or things that are sort of enhancing the acoustic to electronic journey that you would like to share?
Cool plugins. I'd say the one that I'm arguably overusing is Supermassive by Valhalla. It just makes everything sound super cool and super spacey. And Crystallizer. Shout out to Crystallizer.
Oh, nice. Super cool. And let's see. Oh, some of these questions are morbid, but what would be your last meal?
Last meal. Wow. I wasn't expecting to be confronted with my own death here.
Life is temporal, my friend.
Yeah. I'd say any sort of Indian food or Mexican food. Those are my two go-to cuisines.
Yeah. Sweet, sweet.
Yeah, I don't know which particular dish, but I'd say something like that.
Cool. And then finally, like, what are some inspirations of yours, musically, artistically, whatever?
I'd say I pull from a lot of different areas. One of them for this kind of music would be Niels Fromm. He's like a German kind of minimalist post-rock composer. He's a pianist,
Mm-hmm.
and he inspired like some of the vibes that I'm going for here.
Cool. And yeah, so all this, what we're about to see, maybe we should go over and we'll stand on the outside of your setup because
Okay, yeah,
it's so hard
that's
to get
probably
in.
that's probably wise.
But we'll carefully get over this. And big shouts out, by the way, can we make some noise to Curiosibot for changing this over, like, and crushing it?
Thank you guys.
So, oh wow, what is all of this
Wow.
stuff that we're looking at?
So I can kind of go in a circle here. So I have a little like this is my toys table, which is normally here, but I had to relocate it. I have a little like crash stacker thing, some wood blocks, a little shaker over there, and then over here I have a bombalaguero, which is a drum from Argentina. It's used in like folkloric music in Argentina, and I'm not playing Argentinian folkloric music, but I'm going
Sure.
to use it anyway.